Hello, let's understand what is decision making and what are the topics related to decision making under management principles and practices. Today's session outcomes: definition of decision and decision making, characteristics of decision making, steps in decision making process, types of decisions, decision making conditions, conditions that affect the possibility of decision failure, decision making strategies, common decision making errors and biases. Now let's understand what is the definition of decision. A decision may be defined as a conscious choice among alternative courses of action. This definition is given by father of marketing management Philip Kotler, where he says that we have multiple different options where we need to consciously select a particular option and to solve a problem in the organization. And what is the definition of decision making in general? Let's see. It is a set of steps taken by managers in an enterprise to determine the planned path for business initiatives and to set specific actions in motion. Where they say that decision making is a process followed by manager where you need to make a decision in the process of planning for the further execution of the plans. Let's understand the characteristics of decision making. Decision making is very important part of management process. So there are certain characteristics for decision making, like goal oriented. Decision making is always goal oriented. It is to move towards some desired state of affairs where we make decisions keeping the point of view of long term, where considering the goals and the missions of the organization. Decision making always have multiple alternatives. It is characterized by two activities: search and choice, where for making the decision we have a lot and lot of options where we need to search for multiple options and select the best one which suits our problem and which solves our problem. Next characteristics: analytical and intellectual. Decision making is both analytical and intellectual, where sometimes it based upon our intuitions, where based upon our instincts we take decisions. Sometimes it is based upon deductive logics, like we refers to some laws and acts based upon those information data available. We make decisions. Here, the author says that decision represents a judgment, a final resolution of a conflict of needs, means, or goals, and a commitment to action made in the face of uncertainty, complexity, and even irrationality. When there are uncertainties, complexities, and irrationalities exist in the organization, we make a judgment regarding to solve a problem. That judgment is known as decision, which sometimes based on analytical, sometimes based on intellectual. Decision making is a dynamic process. It is a process used in inputs effectively in the solution of the selected problems and creation of outputs that have utility. Where decision making is a dynamic process, it changes as per the requirements to the particular problem. Decision making is a pervasive function. It, in the sense, it covers every part of the enterprise. Decision should be taken based upon considering all the parts within the organization. Decision making is a continuous activity. In the sense, decision making process happens every day within the organization, every month within the organization. Whenever the course of actions continuously happens in the organization, decision making process also go hand in hand. Decision making requires commitment of time, effort, and money. Sometimes in the process of making decisions, we need to commit our time, we need to commit our effort, we need to commit our money also. Decision making is an integral part of planning, where Coons say that decision making is the core of planning. In the process of planning inside the organization, decision is an core, in the sense which is a vital part of the planning. Now let's understand what are the steps in decision making process. First, we need to understand why we need to make decision. We need to make decision to solve a problem, or to execute a plan, or through continue our process business activities, etc., etc. Now let's understand what is the process involved in decision making. There are 7 steps inside the decision making process. By following a deliberate by following this process, you can help and ensure the choice and success of right direction and reduce or eliminate second guessing. So by following this decision making process, we can easily select a proper alternative and solve our decision. The first step inside this decision making process is articulate the decision. First, we need to find what is the problem of our uh, first we need to find what is the issue, what is the problem within our organization. We need to identify the issue and what decisions need to be made. So the first step is identification of the problem, articulate the decision. The second step is gather the information. We need to do intensive research of the background of our problem. Like we need to check the why the problem has arisen, what are the information related to that problem, or what are the information related to that activity, based upon which we need to take decision. We need to gather all the information. Next, we need to identify the options which we have regard which we gain from the information. After gathering all the information, we need to select the most likely options which are suitable to our conditions, our requirements. Like, we need to identify those options, and we need to put them aside. Now, next step is evaluate the information. We need to thoroughly evaluate the information, whether it is right or wrong. We need to do analysis, like research and background, to identify aligns to one or the more of the decision options. Like, we have selected more than one or two decision options, we need to do strategic analysis based upon that information, and we need to evaluate that information. The next step is select your decision. After doing the evaluation process, complete evaluation process, we need to select the one best alternative which suitable to our situation, which suitable to solve our problem. The next sixth step is to implement the decision. After selecting the right alternative, we need to implement within our business organization. uh, we need to implement step by step in our business organization. Then we need to review our decision. Review in the sense, we need to check the feedback, or we need to ask for the feedback with our stakeholders, or we need to evaluate the result. After implementing this decision, we need to review. So these are the 7 steps involved in the process of decision making. Now let's understand what are the types of decisions. There are majorly two types of decisions. They are categorized based on managers in all kinds of organization face different types of problems and decisions as they do their jobs. Depending on the nature of the problem, a manager can make one of the two different types of decisions. So here this is that depending on the nature of the problem, the decisions can be divided into two types. One is programmed decision, and one more is non-programmed decision. So how can we say that this particular decision is a programmed or non-programmed decision? So based on few characteristics, we can divide it as a programmed decision or non-programmed decision. Those characteristics are: what is the type of problem, what is the manager level who is taking the decision, what is the frequency of decision took, what are the information regarding the decision, what are the goals for which we are taking the decision, what is the time frame for solution, and depending upon the solution, the decisions are categorized programmed and non-programmed. In programmed in program decision, the type of program is mostly structured problem, where you have a proper structured problem where you can easily program your decision. Here the manager levels is lower level, like the lower level of the management take this programmed decisions, and the frequency of taking the decisions are repetitive and routine problems. These program decisions are taken for frequently, and for routine kind of problem, these program decisions are taken. And for information to taking this decision is free, readily available. Like, in the 7 steps of decision making process, we have seen that we have to gather information. So for this program decisions, information is easily available, and goals are clear and specific in program decision. The time frame is very for short. We take program decisions for a very short period of time, and the solutions are procedures and the rules and policies. Like, based upon the procedures, rules and policies given by the top level management, the lower level management take the program decisions. Whereas non-program decisions, now coming to non-program decisions, these decisions are taken when unstructured problem is arise, like unavoidable or irregular problem arises, we take non-program decisions. These decisions are generally took by top level management, like senior and high level management take this kind of decisions. These decisions are not frequently occurred, or there are unusual problems. They are very new kind of problems which management doesn't seen before. And this information is not properly available to take the decision. It is ambiguous and incomplete, where they need to put lot of analytics and their intelligence to take this type of decisions. And these decisions are taken for the in the perspective of long term horizon, like relatively for long time these decisions are taken, keeping the point of view of long term of the organization, decisions are taken. These decisions are taken generally based upon judgments and creativity of the top level management. Based upon their intellectual and their competence, top level management take these decisions. So we understood that what's the difference between programmed decisions and non-programmed decisions. Let's understand what are the conditions or situations in which decisions are took. There are only 4 types of conditions. like certainty, risk, uncertainty, and ambiguity. Understand the conditions that affect the possibility of decision failure. So we have seen there are four different kinds of situations in the management where manager needs to take a decision. So let's understand what are those. Organizational. First, we have an organizational problem. If the organizational problem is certain, in the sense the organizational problem is certain, the possibility of failure will be very low, like only 0 to 25%. And the problem for the solution can be taken with program decisions as well. Easily the program decisions can be used where the goals are specific and lower level management can also take these decisions. The next type of situation is risky situation where the possibility of failure is 25 to 50%. Even here the program decisions can be taken to solve a problem, like we can take these decisions for the keeping the point of view of short term. Next type of situation is uncertainty, where the possibility of failure is more compared to risky and certain situations. Here, the possibility of failure is 50 to 75%. Possibility of failure of our decision can be 50 to 75%. Here, slightly non-program decision is taken in solving a problem. Like upper level, medium level managers are involved, and these situations are not regularly occurred. They are uncertain. They're ambiguous and incomplete. And the final situation is ambiguity situation where possibility of failure is very high compared to other situations like 75% to 100%. Here definitely manager needs to take a non-program decisions to solve this problem. And you need to use creative and judgmental approaches to solve these problems. Now let's understand what are the different decision making strategies. There are totally 9 types of decision making strategies. So let's understand one by one what are those. First one is analytical decision making, where it is the cognitive process, which means ability of knowledge gathered by brain and implementation of knowledge. Mostly this type of decision making is considered based upon facts and logical basing of a manager himself. Manager, based upon his logics, based upon his brains and implementation of knowledge, he takes a decision. The next type of decision making is command decision making, where leaders make decision without consulting their teams. Managers take decision without consulting their teams. They generally make the decisions by themselves and they command to their subordinates to follow this particular decision. The next type of decision is collaborative decision making, where managers take inputs from all the stakeholders and therefore making a best choice from the standout point of the objective. First, managers collaborate with their team members, with their subordinates, and by their inputs, the manager take a decision, and whole organization, whole team follows the decision. The next type of decision making is expertise decision making. Here, the decision making is made by consulting experts in a particular kind of problem the organization is faced. Like experts have a domain specific knowledge and they have experience and they have training. So based upon our goals, based upon our problems, we consult an expert. Based upon experts inputs and experts knowledge, we will take a decision. The manager take a decision. The next type of decision making is consensus based decision making. The consensus based decision making is a cooperative process in which all group members develop and agree to a support a decision in the best interest of the whole. Here, the consent is taken from all the members of the organization, and the decision is made in the best interest of whole organization, not just the manager, but whole organization. The decision is made. The next type of decision making is random choice decision making. Here, this decision making is generally followed in the situations like even if we choose any alternative, the output will be same. In those situations, we use random choice. We select a random alternative and take a decision. The next type of decision making is vote decision making. It is easily understandable. Like we make a voting and based upon the majority we will take a decision. The next type of decision making is availability heuristic decision making. Here, based upon the past data, first let's understand what is availability heuristic. Availability heuristic is a mental shortcut that relies on immediate examples that come to a given person's mind when evaluating a specific topic, concept, or method or decision. It is in the sense, if it in simple terms, it is based upon the previous examples or previous data. Based upon those knowledge, we will take a decision. So these are